what are opinion types of questions, opinion based questions, and what is the different variety which you can get in that. So the very first one is a direct question where they ask you very simply, what is your opinion? So they give you a background statement and they ask you, what is your opinion? So that's a very simple, straightforward place where you know that your opinion is asked. The second thing is, do you agree or disagree? So यहाँ पे आपको पूछा है कि do you agree? The moment you see something that is asked of you can understand that it's asking for your opinion. So in that case, you can include your opinion or your personal stand on that topic. Otherwise, you should write on a very generalized fashion without your opinion, without any inclusion of I, me, my opinion and so on, because आपको नहीं पूछा गया. पर जहाँ पे लिखा है what is your opinion, do you agree or disagree, right? Or to what extent do you agree or disagree? So once again, they are asking you what is your stand, what is your position on this topic, right? So these are the opinion based essays. So let's move on and let's understand one of them. So let's look at the question prompt which is given to us. So it says, some people believe that violent media directly results in violent behavior. What is your opinion? To what extent do you agree or disagree? So this, what you see here, is the key point of your question prompt. This is the general background statement. Question 1, what is right? So there are two things which are asked here, and let's read the instructions which remain common throughout your IELTS exam for any IELTS writing task too. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task, yes. Then you have the question, give reasons for your answer. Very important to give extended answers and explanations to it. Include any relevant examples. So once again, this is a requirement which is asked of you. Write at least 250 words. So 3 things you need to keep in mind while writing your essay down. So let's understand the question step by step. So let's discuss this. So some people believe, some people, not all, some people believe that violent media directly results in violent behavior. What is your opinion? So please tell me, what do you guys think? The kind of movies we see and the kind of literature we read, the news we come across. So what are your opinions?
So ma'am, it doesn't directly result in violence. It mainly depends on your mentality.
Okay, fair enough. So it means that you are not fully agreeing with it. You are somewhere partially agreeing with this point. And you say that it's not necessary that all the violent behavior is caused by media. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So yes, I heard one more person.
Ma'am,
yes.
It was me.
Yes.
I think violent media fuels emotion, and so it instigates violent tendencies in the society, and it results into anarchy.
Okay. All right. So you are saying that yes, it is 100% responsible for violent behavior. In simpler words.
Yes, ma'am.
Or in a slightly. Okay. So let's say, I'm writing on your behalf that you agree. Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Aurora.
I agree with the point that violent media directly results in violent behavior, because whatever is shown on the television or on social media, it directly impacts youngsters, especially young teenagers who have we can say that they are yet in the process of being, their minds are getting molded, and whatever they see directly impacts their mind. They are not mature enough to handle whatever they are seeing, whatever is streaming on the social media or on the television. So they want to try out things, they want to jump into things which they should not go into, but they want to give it a try. So because of that, their tendency, when they keep on seeing those things, because there is one tendency of the media also, that they keep on repeating the same thing again and again. So every time a youngster or a small child would see those things, he will have the urge to try out that behavior.
Okay. So yes, fair enough. So thank you so much for your opinion, Aurora. So yes, you say that you completely agree and that violent media is directly responsible for violent behavior in the society because people get influenced, especially the younger ones. Okay. Anyone else? what do you think is, let's talk about games, for example. So we do have some video games which are very violent in nature. Do you think that accounting in media, that results in violent behavior in children or in the society?
Yeah, actually, I have heard a news about a PUBG game, and relevant news with it that one guy from Lucknow, he killed his mother just because of she was stopping her to play the game. So he put out the gun of his father and shoot his mother. So
Okay.
that was a result. That was a directly you can say that it's a direct impact of to the brain of a child.
Okay. So you say that, like, we agree that violent behavior, violent games cause that, and therefore it impacts children directly. Okay. Anybody else who would like to give their opinion here? Anyone else? Okay. So like most of you, I also have a similar opinion that yes, I do believe that media plays a role in instigating and pushing that kind of behavior, and I need to write about that. So now what we did right now is content generation. We know what is your opinion. So in this kind of an essay, it's very important to know what your opinion is before you start writing the essay, because if you start writing directly without having a clear direction, who knows where you may end up. And when you don't have clarity, your essay will replicate that. So you need to be very clear from the beginning. What is your opinion? Take a minute to think about it. Be very clear, take a stand. Whether it's full agreement, you fully agree that yes, it directly affects, you partially agree that yes, it affects, but not, it's not just media, it could be other people or their own mindset as well, the mentality or something of that kind. So whatever your opinion is, take a clear stand from the beginning. Yes.
Can we keep both views?
Yes, you can keep both views. Absolutely, yes. You can do that. Okay, so let's understand this one by one. So be very clear of the content and your opinion which you need to have before you start writing the essay. So let's understand the question clearly. Some people believe, not all, some people believe that violent media. So media refers to a number of things. Any clue what that is?
Audio,
So we can
video
talk about
clips,
video
video
games.
games. Yes.
Yes.
Video clips,
Next.
audio clips, and recorded speeches.
Recordings, fine. Do you think news plays a
News
role in
also,
that?
ma'am. News as well.
Okay. And thank you, Satwik. And do you think maybe movies, the songs,
Social
book,
media.
Social media.
absolutely fair, yes. Social media plays a strong role, especially these days. So all of these things account for media, right? They're all different mediums to convey information, and because of violence there, people get influenced by that, right? So these are the key points, that violent media. So media can be any of these things and results in violent behavior. Fine. Next thing, what is your opinion? Okay. So the degree of your opinion, how much do you agree? How much do you disagree? What is the extent of that, right? And this is the place for your opinion. Do you agree or disagree with that? Right? So you need to understand the question very carefully before you start writing that down. क्योंकि यहाँ पे extent के बारे में पूछा है, यहाँ पे they are not asking do you agree or disagree. They are asking you to what extent, to what degree is your agreement. You fully agree, you fully disagree, you partially agree, whatever it is, be clear from the beginning when you write that down. And one tip I can suggest is whenever you read a question, please try to think in a very broad perspective, for the reason that it helps you generate content and it's easy for you to write it down. So you have 40 minutes, आपको content generate करना है, आपको आपका opinion लिखना है. You have to be very clear, you have to form the structure, actually write things down step by step, correct, and then submit the paper. So you have 40 minutes to do, and the time frame is quite tight. So you need to think in a very large perspective, in a very broad perspective, so that you can get all kinds of ideas, which makes it easier to write. You don't get stuck or you don't circle around the same thing. Okay. So what do you guys think about this? To what extent? What is the range of agreement which you have? Okay, so let's look at another question, that walking. This is a slightly controversial question, that walking is the best way to move around and all other transportation should be banned. So this is something that is controversial. You can take a balanced view, you can take an extreme view, whichever it is. Let's discuss that. So is walking the best way to move around, and should all other transportation, all other transport mediums be banned? What do you guys think about it?
I think fully disagree, because it might not be the best option for all the people, especially those who have health issues. So walking might not be, everyone might not be comfortable walking.
Fair enough. Do you think all transportation should be banned? Think about it. Read the question carefully. All transport. I heard someone speaking. You disagree? Okay. So you, how much do you disagree? Do you slightly disagree? Do you moderately disagree?
Moderately.
What is
disagree.
your range?
Moderately
disagree. Fine. And the reason for that?
Ma'am, actually, if somebody is walking from a very early age and physical exertion is there, then I don't think the issues that happens in their legs or other health issues, they will not try to, they will be okay from that. And regarding other transportation, I don't think cycling is also one of a good transportation. I think that should not be banned, of course. And furthermore, ma'am, the distance should also be taken as an important parameter to decide whether which transportation will pay off. I mean, if we are going to a nearby colony, we should try to restrict ourselves from using bikes or other kind of transportation. And if you are going to a different city, then definitely walking is not a good option.
Yes, absolutely right. So your own is that's perfectly okay. So you moderately disagree that walking may not be the best way to move around always, and maybe not all the other transportation should be banned because that's required. Anybody else who thinks, anybody else who fully agrees or moderately agrees that yes, walking is the best way to move around? Okay, so let me tell you my opinion. I think I have a divided opinion. I have a balanced view.
Yes, I will take balanced opinion.
Yes, Sumit, go on.
Okay. I'll take balanced opinion because it totally depends on where we are moving around. Because if it is in parking zone, then I mean to say, if it is in market zone, then walking is the best way to move around.
Yes.
So I will take balanced opinion. It will totally depend on where we are moving, and it is not mentioned here. So we can take both the paragraphs, and after that we can conclude with that. We can move around. We can conclude that both validity.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Sumit. Fine. So yes, I also have a similar opinion. I think that walking is a good solution to some of the spaces which we go around to, maybe a nearby colony or the next door street, something like that. But do I think that all other transportation should be banned? No, I don't think that all other transportation, I don't think aircrafts or ships or liners or cruises should be banned, because not only do they help you commute long distances in a short amount of time, but they also help you transport a lot of vital elements such as medicines and so on. So banning transportation is not the solution. At the same time, walking is also good. So it's a personalized opinion from person to person, and I have a balanced view. I think it's 50-50. That's what I feel. That's my opinion. So that's the extent. That's the extent I agree or disagree with the particular question that's given to me. Right? So when you look at a question, be very clear. Agar extent likha hua hai, then you need to know whether you are taking extreme sides, or you're having a divided view, or you're reclining, or you're inclining more towards the agreement side or what. आपको पहले से clear होना, so that your essay is going to be written accordingly, right? So these were just exercises to help you understand the extent of opinion. This is our topic. This is the question. And in this case, I say that I fully 100% agree. I think that yes, media directly results in behavior which is violent, and I'm going to talk about that. So the extent which I agree to is 100%. This is the extent I agree to. I agree fully. I don't disagree at all. Therefore, it's very clear from the beginning. Let's say you're writing a full agreement essay. The introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and the conclusion. So let's read this step by step and let's understand line by line. I will help you understand that. So let me explain this step by step. The first sentence, a direct paraphrase of the question, it means the exact same thing, that due to media, the aggressive content available online has increased drastically. Now, this is once again adding to the first line, that while some impact. So क्योंकि वहाँ पे सब लिखा हुआ था, it was not that all believe, some people believe. This is my thesis statement. I'm answering the instruction. I'm answering the question asked, that in my opinion, I believe that exposure to terrorizing content plays a significant role in encouraging violent behavior. Significant role. So now, just by reading the first introduction paragraph, the examiner knows that, okay, I strongly agree that violent media is responsible for the behavior, and I will explain why. So your position is clear from the beginning, and you move on from that, right? So now let's read the body paragraph 1. So yes, so मैंने इसमें क्या क्या in body paragraph 1, I'm picking one media and I'm talking about that. In body paragraph 2, I will pick another medium, another media, and I will say that why that has impacted. So in the first one, I'm talking about games. This is my subject. This is the media which I'm talking about directly. And I'm saying that why online games have a lot of violent content and how they prove fatal to the current scenario. What happens with that? So that many individuals, especially youngsters, are attracted to online games, which include substantial violence and aggression. Fine. Introduction statement to my topic, to my paragraph, and anyone who reads it is very clear that, okay, the paragraph is about online games and violence. It's clear on the first line, from the first line itself. From there, I move on and I support that point. I say that this creates a lasting impression and motivates them to imitate the same actions. Supporting statement 1. After that, I say that moreover, there have been numerous cases where such exposure has proven fatal. Supporting statement 2. All of this focused on online games only. Then I say an example that, for instance, a controversial, highly addictive online game called PUBG has played a key role in exposing children to a world of criminality. Fine. Not only has it proven negative activities, not only has it promoted negative activities, it has also disrupted the mental health of the youth, and it has normalized violence. So this entire paragraph talks about online games. It explains why online games are fatal. It gives an example to provide further evidence for that. And it concludes by saying that it has normalized violence and it has disrupted mental health, right? So with this, your paragraph is holistic and it's complete in itself, right? Now let's move on to body paragraph 2 and let's read that. Let's understand that. So मैंने इसमें parallel structure follow किया. You can say that firstly, online games. Secondly, as it's clear, we are talking about movies. So once again, the second media which is influencing violence, right? So now the entire paragraph is focused on movies. Why movies play a role in promoting violence, right? So that it's unrealistically stylized and glamorous. Fine. Next sentence. This is a very heavy sentence. This is a very complex sentence, I would say. But in one sentence, I'm giving 2-3 ideas together. And this sentence is supporting the first one directly. So I say that several action movies or crime scenes make them perpetrators of violence, but also bolster the imitation of such destructive behavior without the awareness of consequences in real life. So एक sentence में मैंने इतना कुछ convey कर लिया, and if you write 1 or 2 such sentences in your paragraph, that completes it. That is more than enough. 3-sentence paragraph. But those 3 sentences are very strong, and that completes your paragraph itself. So if you're able to write such developed sentences, you should write them, because that will fetch you a lot of marks. It can improve your band score by 1 or even 1.5, right? Then let's move on to the conclusion. To conclude, it is undoubtedly true that we are influenced by what we see, hear, and experience. Fine. A general statement related to the topic. I'm expressing my opinion now that, in my opinion, the projection of violence in media in various forms definitely has aggravated the rate of violent crimes in society, and certainly has a negative impact on people and communities, since it normalizes violence and makes people less empathetic and more aggressive. One sentence, but it has several ideas put together in one sentence. So if you're able to write, and you should aim to write complex sentences of this kind. क्योंकि अगर आप देखोगे, मेरा conclusion paragraph is just 2 sentences, technically speaking, but they are highly developed. So this is once again reflecting, in my opinion, it's connecting this and it's connecting this immediately. And it's saying what it does. It normalizes violence, makes people less empathetic and more aggressive. And with that, your IELTS essay is complete. That's pretty much it. It's not that complicated if you are practicing it on a regular basis. So let's now look at the vocabulary which is related to this topic. So please help me spot some words. If you can find some synonyms for media, for violence, help me spot it paragraph by paragraph. So let's go. So let me start. We talked about evolution of media, popularity of aggressive content. Okay. Anything else?
Online games.
Online games, fine. Yes.
Exposure to terrorizing content.
Exposure to terrorizing content. Yes. Constant exposure to terrorizing content. Yes. Encouraging violent behavior. Right? Any other words which we can spot in the first paragraph before we move on to the next one? We are talking about youngsters which are related to online games. Okay. Anything else?
Imitate the same actions.
Imitate the same actions, fine. But before that, substantial violence and aggression. Okay, exposure has proven fatal, fine. Okay. Any other words related to media, violence?
A world of criminality.
World of criminality, yes. So you can see that I have made up some little phrases or some combinations of words. And if you're able to do that, that's great. In fact, I encourage that we all do that. Promoted negative activities, yes.
Disrupted the mental health.
Yes.
Normalizing
Disrupted
violence.
mental health. Normalizing violence. There are a couple more which we missed here.
Controversial.
Controversial, highly addictive online game. These words are adjectives which are supporting violent content, the people whom it affects, what it does. All of these are related to the topic, right? So let's move on to the next body paragraph. Let's spot some words.
Portrayal of violent content.
Yes.
Gruesome acts of brutality.
Yes, absolutely correct.
Unrealistically.
Perpetrators of violence.
Perpetrators of violence. Okay, unrealistically stylized, I heard. Yes.
Glamorous. Yes, ma'am.
Destructive
Glamorous.
Behaviors.
Destructive behavior.
Destructive
Yes.
behaviors.
And bolster the
Absolutely.
imitation, actually.
Bolster the imitation. Yes. So it pushes that imitation. It encourages people to imitate that. They feel good about it.
Several crime thrillers.
Several crime thrillers. Consequences in real life. Awareness of the situation. Right?
Physical conflict, fraud, sadism, and injustice.
All of these related to violence directly, yes.
Hazardous acts. To model these
Yes.
hazardous acts. Yes.
I'm
Let's
influenced
move
by
on to
what
the
we see.
conclusion, the concluding paragraph. Influenced by what we see here. So this is once again, in general, these are not great words, but the combination of words is great. They convey the meaning of media, and they said we are highly influenced by what we see, hear, and experience. Right? Next one.
Projection of violence in media.
Projection of violence in media, yes.
Aggravated the rate of violent crimes in society.
Yes. The violent crimes in society.
A negative
Yes.
impact on people and communities.
Yes.
Normalizes violence, less sympathetic and more aggressive.
Right. So we looked at the vocabulary, which was important. Let's see if we can spot some linking words, which are here. The linkers, which help you make complex sentences. So let's see if we can spot some. There are many. I'll begin. While.
Ma'am, and.
Let's try to find slightly elaborate ones.
Ma'am, moreover.
Not only, but also. This is a linking word that goes in pair. ये साथ में जाता है हमेशा. Secondly, any other words you can spot pair? Without. So it's a conditional sentence as well. क्योंकि मैंने एक condition रखा कि this cannot be done without XYZ reasons, right?
Which in turn.
So all of these elements in turn influence the public, right? So once again, a complex sentence which is given, and it's simple one, so we can ignore that. Since. So all of these are linking words which you should try to include in your essay. And when you add linking words, you're able to form complex, elaborate, advanced sentences which boost your score.